It is a good evening to be Indigenous. Welcome, everybody, to the Intertribal Talk podcast. I'm Cody, and this is...
Devin!
Hey!
Oh, that's good.
That was beautiful. That was, I was thinking about rehearsals, and I'm like, we don't need rehearsals. We just go.
I feel like we would be incredibly awkward if we had to rehearse things and run things off a script because, let's be honest, we go off script all the time.
All the time. All the time. I think that, I don't know if it's because of our star signs, as we are both Sagittariuses. I fly better just going, not having idea in my head of what I want to say, but not writing it down or scripting it.
Yes. Things are more exciting when they're less planned. I find when you plan everything so strategically to exact minutes and whatnot in the day, I always leave a little bit of wiggle room in my schedule, even because I used to be somebody who was a serious planner, had to plan out every minute of my day. And then when exciting things would come to be that day, a surprise, I didn't have time to do it. And it was such a bummer, and it kind of killed the vibe. And then I was doing a lot of spiritual work where it said, if you plan so many things, you're not leaving space for the universe to send you blessings and things you're supposed to be on track doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's essentially saying while it's good to be prepared, always leave yourself some room, a margin of error, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. I am terrible at scheduling or planning anything. I just wake up without a real strategy. I just kind of go. I know what I have to do, and I just kind of do it as the day goes on.
Yep.
But I do respect and appreciate planning and putting things down on a calendar, and I would like to get into doing that more because there's too many things going on in my life to just continue on just going.
Well, when you run into a friend at the grocery store or something, they're like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? You're like, I don't fucking know. I need to be in front of my schedule before we make plans.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm like that too, but I always leave wiggle room in there.
That's smart. I don't even do that much. I would, if I ran into a friend at the supermarket, hey, what are you doing on Friday? Man, I got no plans. All right, let's do something. Okay, sweet. And then I'd get home and Sarah would be like, hey, remember we got this thing on Friday. And I'd be like, oh, crap. Okay.
You double book yourself.
All the time. Oh, my whole life. Terrible.
I did that a lot when I was a lash tech. When I was a lash tech, I would have people run into me in places like, oh, can I come in on blah, blah, blah day? And I'm like, yeah, sure, just message me. And then I would go home, totally forget about that whole conversation. And then they would message me that day when I had already had people booked for that day, and then be like, hey, what time can I come today? And it's like, you can't. I'm sorry. Sorry. You can't make plans with me when I'm not in front of my planner. I'm sorry. It never works out. But yeah, lots of moments like that. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't like, I like being free. I don't like being tied down to a schedule. That really, I like the freedom, but but it's too much. There needs to be some sort of structure.
Yeah, I hear that.
When COVID was going, full on, and we were all kind of at home, and school was online, and it just threw everything out of whack for me because I enjoy getting up, going to school. That's the social dynamic of school. Mm-hmm. Your friends are there. You get to socialize and hang out and just enjoy being on campus. Yeah. But when you're having online classes, you're stuck at home. Some mornings I didn't even make it out of bed. I'd log into my class and just
chill in bed.
Just chill in bed.
I mean, that's not a terrible life. It's not so terrible.
No, it's not. But
as a social person, I can see that anxiety that it would cause in you, though.
Oh, yeah. Zoom, talking on computers, no thanks. If that's all you have, then that's all you have.
Yeah.
But there's certainly a big disconnect when you are talking on the computer versus like in person.
Yeah.
You know, I not a fan.
No, it's the energy. The energy changes 100%. Like the work that I do, because like I am like a psychic medium. I do have clients that I do, well, because of COVID and whatnot, like I do virtual readings, which work. They're just as accurate, but I have a whole other level of experience when I get to be face to face with a client. And it's like mediumship just completely takes over. If I'm in somebody's space, like remember when we were doing the markets, the night markets, I had to stop doing the night markets. Like I just stopped showing up, right? Because things were getting so intense. I was just trying to be there doing like fun card readings, and somebody's like dead grandmother or something would be standing behind them, and I would literally get a headache just trying to like not bring it up and stuff, because I'm like, I'm not trying to do this here. Like, I'm not doing a $5 card pull for a full-blown medium reading right now. and so it just like, things just got so uncomfortable and I had to stop that. So like energy in physical presence of another person is such a legit and real thing. And people sometimes forget that, right? Like how much connection there can be when you are like face to face with somebody. Like when we were doing our lives. Yeah. That was different too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, if you had the choice between Zoom or, you know, FaceTime or just simply talking on the phone, what would you choose? And why would you choose that method? If you had to pick one or the other to communicate with somebody.
See, that's hard because sometimes I really like to like video chat people, and like this was pre-COVID though, to be honest. Like, and I used to video chat all my girlfriends all the time, and then phone calls became a big thing as well. But I don't know what it is. Like I video chat people, and that's how I do my readings and stuff too. It's nice to like be able to see people's faces, and like with my kids, like I'll call my parents in Merritt, and it's nice for them because then they'll get to see the kids, because we don't, you know, I'm a homebody. I don't leave my property very often. But like, I don't know. I think I like video chat, and like on the phone, I don't know what it is. I can't focus when I'm on the phone. I got mad at Ryan today. He was on the phone, and in his logging truck, it's just so loud. And he gets all fuzzy and stuff sometimes. And when I'm busy running around the house, like cooking and cleaning, I'm like, I don't want to be on the phone right now. Like, if we're not going to have a real conversation, then can we have this conversation when you're going to get home? I know that sounds really mean and harsh, but.
No. I get it. There's, like sometimes there's a conversation you like when your partner calls you, and, you know, sometimes you're like, could this have waited, you know, like another 15, 20 until we're both home? And I know what you mean. I think when I was younger, talking on the phone was all we had. Yeah. Right. There was no FaceTime or anything. And it like, you know, we barely had dial-up internet. Yeah. You know, thank you to AOL
the for good old days.
Sending us the free internet CDs, right? You'd have like dial-up internet for free for a month or something.
Remember
like
that horrible noise?
Oh yeah.
The things kids don't know these days.
No. Yeah, play that sound for the youth of today and ask them what that means. They'd have no idea. But then you'd only have, but if someone was on the internet, if someone wanted to use the phone,
you couldn't.
You'd cut off the person on the internet. And man, you know, my mom, when we were kids and we got our first computer, and there was always a fight over like the phone and the internet, and it's like, holy moly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Things we don't have to miss now.
No, but I could spend hours talking on the phone with somebody.
Yeah.
Hours. When I was, you know, a teenager, even when I moved to China, I saw still Skype was relatively helpful, but more often than not, you had to use the phone, and I could just talk for hours on the phone. It was I don't know. When I hear of the youth of today, I say the youth like I'm old. I'm not that old. I feel
we are youthful. What do you mean?
We are youthful. But like, have you heard of like people saying how they have anxiety to talk on the phone?
Me. Oh. Yeah, guilty.
Okay.
I know what you mean. Yes.
So what, like, okay, so what is the anxiousness of talking on the phone then?
I think I'm like
in
you
your
because,
opinion.
Well, I think I'm like you because I like to be face to face with people when I have these conversations. When I'm on the phone with people, again, Sagittarius, I get distracted. It's the same thing. It's like I'll try to sit down and watch a movie, and then all of a sudden I'm up, I'm folding laundry, I'm washing my floors, I'm doing the dishes, and then I miss everything in the movie. Then I have to rewatch it 100 times because I do it repetitively all the time. I can't sit down and focus. So,
do you think? No, I'm glad you said that because I've been thinking a lot about multitasking.
Yeah.
And do you think that it's like a society thing where we have so much, we're so busy, constantly on the go, you know, and I don't even have kids. You have 2 daughters, and that's, more than a full-time job in itself, let alone taking care of laundry and cooking and cleaning and doing errands and going to town and whatever you have to do. So do you think that because we have been so conditioned to that we're always so busy that we don't even know how to just kind of relax anymore?
Yeah, totally. The only way I can relax is if I have like a couple bars, not just one, but a couple bars of Reese's peanut butter cups in front of me, because then I will actually sit my butt down and watch a movie and snack out. But I find that we're in this culture right now where busy means you're being productive, where half the time, most of us that are busy are only half-assing things. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all we have time for.
Yes.
Quick job, get it done, on to the next thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know that, my sister, she lives down in Washington.
Yep.
And we talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, and we talked for about an hour and a half. It was like probably one of the longest conversations we've had in recent memory on the phone. It was really just nice to catch up with her, but she had told me something that really kind of stuck with me. And she said, I was talking to Dad, and he said, it would be nice to spend more time with Cody. Because whenever he comes around, it's usually in, out, there for a half hour, then I gotta go, right? Or I'm there to fill some orders, and then I gotta run, and it's never just like spending that like quality time.
Yeah.
And, I really thought about that, and so now I'm making more of a conscious effort to not only spend quality time with my dad, but also understanding that I really need to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
Right?
We've had that conversation. We've had that conversation.
Yeah. And I think it's challenging for all of us. Yeah. I think more for some than others. I really think when it comes to like family or helping someone out that I care about or love, like I don't like not being there. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I'm very quickly realizing that you can only do so much.
Yeah. And,
sometimes other people are going to have to learn how to figure things out on their own or find other people to help them with whatever it is that they need. And it might not be big. It doesn't, it's not like everything is always doom and gloom, but it's just, it adds up really fast.
Well, and also holding on to the fact that they're not going to be upset with me for saying no. They're not going to be disappointed in me for saying no to them. Because like as people who often like say yes, right? Like sometimes we can feel like if I don't do this for them, they might feel this way about me, or they might not ask me again for help, even though like right now it's just maybe not a good time, but I want them to be able to come back to me and ask for help again. Right? Like, do you ever feel like that sometimes? Like when you do have to say no, you kind of like tense a little bit, like, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Like, yeah, absolutely.
I think that comes down to us, like this kind of like society conditioning of, like we worry about things that we don't need to worry about. Mm-hmm. There's, a good example, Jay was, we were talking about texting and stuff, and
Hey, Jay.
Yeah, we'll never get him on camera. But we were talking about texting, and I am notoriously terrible at replying. You too. Sorry, I meant that more be like, you too. I said it more like an accusation, like, oh, you too? No.
Yeah, guilty.
So when it comes to that, Jay's really quick at responding, but he was saying that when he doesn't respond in a timely manner, people think that he's upset with them or that they've done something to make him angry. And that is where we're at right now with texting and messaging and this feeling that we need to
constantly
reply.
be in communication.
Yes, all the time.
I have a simple solution to that.
Ooh.
You know what? It drives me bonkers. And I am like, and I will say this, I am an emoji abuser. I just to make sure people know that I'm not upset with them or that I'm not ignoring them or anything, I love the shit out of them with emojis. And maybe it might be too much, but I just want them to know, like, hey, still bubbly, happy me. Like,
yeah,
don't worry about it, guys. Heart, 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 kiss, kiss, kissy face, and like all those things. So I'm an emoji abuser, and I've had friends call me out on it before, like, you can respond to me just like this, and no, I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't. Mm-hmm. I don't, and like, if it's a one-word answer from me, then I'm pissed. If I'm not using an emoji in there, then it's just like, what is wrong with Dev? What's going on?
Noted.
Noted. Take notes.
One-word answer. Look out. Yeah, I think, and that is, what you're talking about the using emojis just to get the point across that, hey, like, everything's cool, and when it comes to those tones in texting, that is why I don't text. That is why I hate texting. I send voice messages.
Yes, for the win.
Voice messages over everything. I have China really, when I was living there, that's what really started. They have this app called WeChat.
Oh.
And it's listen, when it first came out, it was just a simple, like, kind of their own version of Facebook, I guess, in a way. Not that you could post stories.
It was more like a messenger,
and you could just put pictures up and people could see it and like it and comment on it.
Oh, okay.
But it was a really cool app that it had this little those little sound waves.
Okay.
Like the sound icon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's that? And I pushed it and it started recording my voice. I'm like, hey, this is cool. So then I just started like sending voice recordings through this app to all my friends in China. And it just felt so much better than texting because there was no room for misinterpretation. There was no, oh, is he upset or mad or, oh, what did he mean by this? And it's just, nope, you're listening to me talk. And therefore, there's no room for any misunderstandings.
Oh, 100%. I love that about voice chats, too, because, like, you and I voice chat each other all the time to the point where we get, like, oh, my God, we need to save this for the podcast. We need to save this. Like, we need to put a cap on it. But, like, no, like, voice chats, honestly, have changed my world. Same thing, like, anybody I talk to, my one girlfriend, she's super old school. Like, we kind of like call each other cavemen because
nice.
we're very basic. And like, I'm still trying to figure out Instagram. I'm still trying to figure out all the new hot things like TikTok. And I don't even have a Twitter. Like, you will not catch me on Twitter. But
just real quick, you are phenomenal on Instagram. I just want to throw that out there. Like, keep going.
I'm trying. I actually just, so with that amazing news I just kind of told you about, I had several of those people reach out to me. Okay. And they told me what I need to do to up my game. So now I'm like, holy crap, like, I got to get my poop together because, like, there's people noticing like what we're creating, what we're doing. And it's sparked this whole new energy in me now. And also why I had to go grab a chai tea, because I woke up way too early, because I haven't come down from this high yet, this like amazing energy high. But yeah, I definitely needed a tea though to keep going. But yeah, like they told me that I need to focus more on reels versus my IG lives, because the IG lives don't have the same impact as the reels do right now. So if you're looking to get your stuff noticed and seen more, reels are where it's at right now in the IG world.
I'm going to really date myself here, but what's a reel? What, I don't even know what that is.
No, you're not dating yourself, because 100% I think I've made 2 reels, and
okay,
they're okay. So when they're like, you got to do reels, I was like, oh gosh, why? I like doing things this way. No, you can't. That's outdated. Oh, but I'm outdated. Like I'm that person. But I was excited for them to reach out and like kind of offer me those tips too, because I was just like, you know what, I definitely need this. I'm going to step up my game. I'm going to learn more about this. Thankfully, I'm the oldest of 9 children, and they're all young and they understand this stuff. So I have some people that could like train me how to Instagram properly.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I wrestle with it. I want to be good at it. I want to understand it more. In China, I completely missed out on Instagram.
Yeah.
There was no Instagram. Facebook, you were barely able to get onto. Twitter, again, didn't exist if you lived there unless you had a VPN, but you know, it wasn't something that was easily accessible.
Yeah.
So therefore, I never paid any mind to it. And then I moved home in 2015, and I don't know how to, like, I understand it. I get the basics, but like to make it look good and like make it aesthetically pleasing and all these filters, and there's all these other apps you can download to use with Instagram to like edit videos or edit things and make, and part of me is like, I'd like to learn that, because I think it'd be really good and beneficial for myself and my company. At the same time, I'm like, if I understand how to do that better, I'm going to probably waste a lot more. I shouldn't say waste, but I'm going to spend a lot more time using this, and I don't want to use it more.
Yeah.
That when it comes to like the brand, like our company,
you guys are doing great.
We are.
Yeah.
It's going good. And that's thanks to Sarah, really.
I see people everywhere rocking your merch. Honestly,
really?
I go drop my kid off at school. I see people rocking merch, and I'm nice. Like, hey, I almost wore that sweater today. Like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of learning curves and ups and downs. But I mean, when it comes to like our social media presence, that's all Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, and she understands it and she does it well. And, you know,
yes, Sarah.
Yeah. So when it comes, you know, the way her and I tackle social media posts is she does the pictures and, you know, the layouts and everything like that. And, you know, I usually get the write-ups because that's my strong suit. So she's design, I'm, you know, words, and then we put it all together and it turns out, you know, something nice. Yeah. So, you know, I've really learned that when you are doing anything with anybody, whether it's a podcast or if you're doing pictures or social media posts, you got to have that balance of strengths and weaknesses and understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. That's like, I feel like that's like couples, even outside of business, like when you're with your business partners, who does what, and then like couples at home as well. Like there are definitely things that Ryan is way stronger at home that I have to wait for help with, versus like the things that I'm just like, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. And then end up denting my truck. Maybe that's a story for another time, but
okay.
we can talk about spouse bloopers. We'll have that night one night. That
sounds great. I think we could put together a pretty good highlight reel.
We'd have to get them to like sign forms or something like, please do not hurt me if I share these stories.
Listen, honey, you're gonna hear some things. And I just need you to be okay with it.
It's all for the greater good. It's for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, no, you guys are kicking butt with your merch. Like, even like when I was at, where was I? I was at Superstore, I think, and I sent you guys a picture of like all the, like the sticker that I saw, and that wasn't the only sticker in the parking lot I saw, but I stopped taking pictures because I did the one picture, and then somebody was like watching me, like, what are you doing? I was like, that's my friend's sticker. What? Like, that's their logo, I mean. Like, okay, I'm just gonna go. This is weird.
Yeah. Have a good night. See you later. Don't mind me.
I do weird stuff all the time.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, it has been really cool to see the love and the support that we've had from our friends and family. And, I really think that I think that when it comes to anything in life, business or personal matters, like if you go into something and like, if you're a good person and you have good intentions and, the energy, like we've talked about, that energy, when you put out that good, positive energy, people see that. They feel it, and the amount of times that when we were at the markets and people would just say, wow, like I love your energy, or like you're a great salesman, or you guys are really awesome. And Sarah tends to shy away a little bit from like, she, if there's a choice and who's going to deal with people, it'd be me more often than not. But watching her kind of come out of her shell a bit, and she's done some markets on her own without me, because I've had other things I've had to do, school, and she crushes it. Like, she's good. She's really good at that stuff. So it's all about growing, and just, if people like you, if someone walks into your store and they already like what they see in terms of like your brand, but then if they talk to you and they like you too, well, now you've probably gained someone who's gonna want to buy your stuff as long as you're around.
Oh, 100%.
So I think that's what it all comes down to, is just giving that good energy to people. And not everyone's an excellent customer when they come around, and there's definitely some grumpy Gusses out there, or copycats. Oh, yeah, there are those too. And you know what? We won't get into the copycat thing too much, but I will say that the best piece of advice I got when people brought it to our attention that there was people trying to copy us, or it looked way too similar to be like just a coincidence.
It was a complete ripoff. Let's just speak honestly here.
Okay. Like,
someone was trying to rip you guys off.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll say it.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. Okay. So they trying to rip us off, and we wanted to go and really do like the lawyer thing, and really just like put the fear into this other business and say, hey, this is not okay. Mm-hmm. But then, talking to other people who have been in business for a long time, they said, you can do that. That's an option. And you're very right in your feelings to want to go that route. Yeah. But the way they kind of talked us off the ledge, so to speak, was that they're like, you guys have something genuine here. Mm-hmm. This isn't just a flash in the pan or something that's going to fizzle out in 5 months or half a year. Like, that, you guys have something really good. So keep doing your thing, and pretty soon you're not even going to think about this other company. Like, people are going to gravitate to you, and they'll see it in the quality and who you are as people. And the way they just kind of explained it, they're like, just keep doing you, build your brand, and build it to the point where like they're not even on your radar anymore. Just keep going.
And it worked.
So, there's sometimes you need a gentle approach, And sometimes you need to, and sometimes
unleash
you need
the fury.
Unleash the fury. So, there's definitely times for each one of those actions.
That's good on you guys, though, for recognizing that and then seeking out, like, all the advice that did help you guys to take that step, too. Because I remember when you were telling me about it, I was just like, uh-oh. Like, I was so upset for you guys. And I wanted to go and, like, go bringing up my old nickname, Debbie Dukes, on somebody. But, I do, like, you guys are amazing business people. And seriously, just the way that, even at the markets, like seeing everyone leave your tent, everyone had a smile on their face. Everyone was so happy about what they just bought. And that speaks volumes for what you're selling. And it's not just like, and this is one of my friends' like favorite kind of quotes and stuff too. It's like, your smile is your trademark.
Ooh.
And yeah.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
I've never heard that.
Oh, really?
I like that.
It's
smile is your trademark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good one.
It is.
It's from an old cowboy movie.
Which one?
8 Seconds.
Ooh.
Have you seen it?
No.
What? Okay, my heart's broken right now.
I'm sorry.
That's like my childhood. It's still my favorite movie, and I still cry every time I watch it.
8 Seconds.
8 Seconds.
Who's in it?
It's a movie about Lane Frost. He's a bull rider.
Okay.
Yeah, Lane Frost and Kelly Kyle. And he has a tragic death, bull riding. But it's just like the person that he was, like, he impacted so many people around him and like really had a bright light in the world and in the rodeo world, and just was highly recognized for like just who he was and saying stuff like, it's my trademark and kind of stuff like that, helping out kids and being the person to like stop and help people out, whereas other people would just walk by, right? So like leaving a legacy, basically.
Yeah. Okay. 8 Seconds. You know what? I don't know. I can't say. I don't know if I've actually seen it.
Cody, I'm giving you homework.
Okay.
Go watch it.
8 Seconds. And what, like, how old is it?
So Luke Perry stars in
Luke
it.
Perry. 90210.
Yes. Yeah, like, you know what? In his day, he was a babe. So, I don't think, like, every single girl, like, because I grew up in Merritt, every single girl that watched 8 Seconds, we all loved Luke Perry.
Okay.
Just...
I'm not hating on him. I was thinking, like, what else was he in?
Well, you know what? He was actually in Riverdale. He played Archie's dad. So if you've what? You haven't seen Riverdale either, dude?
Listen. No, hold on. I tried. I tried. But when Jughead came in looking all like clean cut and like good looking, I'm like, I'm out. Jughead's supposed to be like this dopey, funny guy who's like clumsy. No. And he comes in this like real world Archie show and he's all like, no, whoa, what is going on? And Betty and Veronica, no, just.
Hey.
No. I
implore you to try and get through the first and second season at least.
There's multiple seasons?
There's lots.
Oh, no.
They're good, though. They're good.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I loved it. Until they started getting into the musical stuff, I was like, what is this? And I don't want to say garbage, but like it was just like it went from being super cool and all this mysterious stuff to like, did they run out of things to write? Because this is not what I wanted to tune into. Go back to last season.
It turned into like the High School Musical.
I loved the spooky one. Like, oh my gosh, no, I think you just got to watch it. You got to get through all the like annoying, painful stuff and then get through it.
But like, I'm with you. And I'm not saying that it's, I imagine it probably is a good show. I'm just in my mind, the comics don't like it doesn't translate to
nothing like the comics.
Exactly. It's nothing like the comics. It's just, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. I get it.
It's the same reason why I haven't watched the real Lion King movie. The same reason why like I don't like Disney remaking all these movies into real live ones.
Yeah.
You know what? The cartoons were pretty good. Let us just have those forever.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to see. I saw Beauty and the Beast in the theater, the real live one, and I was like, okay, so I just.
That one is a good one.
That one was one of the better ones.
Yeah,
I would agree. I don't like. It's just I don't know.
If we're gonna talk about the Disney movies, like. I agree with you. All the ones that they're remaking of like the Lion King and stuff like that, I wasn't super on board with. Aladdin, I sat through it. It wasn't like, oh my God, it's amazing. It was just like, oh, cool. She's really pretty. And I like her voice. She sings nicely.
Was that the Will Smith one?
Yeah.
That Will Smith played the genie?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But my favorite, and it's not even a remake because it was like a brand new movie, it was Maleficent. I love the Maleficent movies. Maybe it's the dark, spooky queen in me, but like, love her.
What's the Maleficent movies?
Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I'm so out of the loop there.
Goodness. You know what, Uncle Cody, you need to like step up your game. Uncle Cody needs to come over for some movie nights.
See, this is where I like, because I don't have kids, I miss out on these great movies, I think.
Yeah, they're so good. Like my daughter Winter is obsessed with Maleficent, and like it kind of worries me because I'm like, oh gosh, she's gonna be just like me, a spooky little diva queen. Like she loves all things spooky. But honestly, Maleficent is so cool. Like I just love how they did the movie, like the story behind it, how it's mystical, but like also kind of dark and spooky. But like, I just love it. I love it. It's just like boss chick energy. Gotcha.
Yeah. I do appreciate, even though I'm like, I think one of the last Disney movies I saw, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming it's Disney.
Yeah.
Was like the Moana.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that Disney? Yeah, I think it was.
Disney Pixar, right? Like they're together.
Maybe. I don't know. Wow. I don't know. I don't even pay attention to that anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But though, like, I guess what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter who's making it, but like the movies that they're making for kids nowadays are amazing.
Yeah.
They're really cool. One of my all-time favorite movies ever is WALL-E.
That is Ryan's favorite movie. Of course, that's your favorite.
Nice. Yeah.
Ryan could rewatch. There was like a whole week where it was like we would sit down to watch a movie with the kids because that's like our wind down time and snuggle time. And
right.
He would pick WALL-E like every single time. And I'm like, can we pick something else? He's like, this is the only kids movie that doesn't drive me nuts at the moment. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to drive me nuts. But I do love it. Like he's such a little goofball, that WALL-E, and the kids love him. And yeah, I can agree.
Yeah. That movie, I liked it because it also like teaches us about things.
Yeah.
Things that are actually like
informative.
It's informative and kind of like getting a little bit scary in terms of like how close we are to that. Like literally like, hey, well, planet Earth, it's been a slice, but we're taking off. And
like, how do we know that we haven't done that to other planets and that's how we all ended up here? Right. Like,
ooh.
If we're going to go into, that should also be another episode. We will talk about what they talk about like on Gaia and ancient aliens and whatnot. We should definitely do an episode on that.
So, okay. So then like, okay, we can wait for that.
You want to get into it?
Bad
right
no. It's okay. It's okay. I actually, I was thinking, I wanted to get your thought on going back to Disney, and we'll touch on it's a bit more of a sensitive subject when it comes to Disney.
I feel like I'm reading your mind, and I know what you're going to talk about.
Right?
Yes.
So, do you think Disney will have the balls, so to speak, to do a Pocahontas remake?
They better fucking not. And if they do, they better have a legit indigenous woman, an actual, because I believe Pocahontas was Mohawk. I believe
so.
Yeah. So they
Jay,
better,
can you check that for us?
Right? Yeah. Finally get to use that line.
Nice. Yes.
I don't know. See, and that's where I have complicated feelings because growing up, non-indigenous people always, and still do, and this is the thing, is like I for so long never got offended by it because I didn't know and understand the true history behind it.
Same canoe.
Right?
Yeah.
And same canoe. And I didn't know. I genuinely didn't. So I never got upset about it. And then once I became more aware of the true story of Pocahontas, it started to like strike a nerve with me. And, and I'm somebody who firmly believes, like, I don't believe in being oversensitive. I don't believe in that kind of stuff because I believe, like, you know what, like we got to give people the benefit of the doubt. They didn't know any better and that kind of thing. Right. But at the same time, like with all the information that comes out, like do better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I could tell you so many stories about like the insane racial remarks that I have had regarding like Pocahontas or like the Cabana girl look. Lots, right? Because I've, you know, like olive toned skin and whatnot, long dark hair. Well, it's not long anymore, but when it was long.
Oh yeah, you got a nice little trim taken off, right?
Yeah, well,
couple inches.
I used to have hair past my butt, and I did. I had hair past my butt, and then I got it lopped off, and yeah, so I miss my long hair, but I don't miss the Pocahontas remarks though, because like I would have people say it all the time, like, oh, you look just like Pocahontas, and I'm like, oh, thanks. And even in Disney, they made her not look as pretty as all the other Disney princesses, and I was like, that is rude. And like,
you know, I'm gonna push back on that.
What?
I thought Pocahontas I thought she was pretty good looking.
Oh, you had a crush on Pocahontas.
In comparison to the other princesses, it would probably, Pocahontas was definitely number one, and then
Jasmine.
Yeah. Yeah, you read my mind. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Jay.
Jay's like, no.
No, who was it?
Chime in here then.
Sleeping Beauty.
Come on.
What? You guess. Oh gosh.
It's gotta be Belle.
Obviously. Ariel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Of course.
I dropped the ball on that one.
You know what? Everybody loves a redhead.
I think I really don't, in my mind, I think that's like an untouchable.
Yeah.
I really don't think Disney would get away with it. I think the blowback would be way too, regardless if you had indigenous cast and really emphasize the indigenous thing. The fact of the matter of the story, the origin story, and how they twisted it into some sort of love tale when it was the furthest thing from a love tale.
Yeah.
And so I really hope that it's never ever done. I would be really upset if they did it. Because you're just reigniting that, that stereotype, and we've come too far to take that step back.
I agree. I think the best thing to do would be to scrap the whole Pocahontas deal and do something more along, like in between the lines of Merida / Moana / Mulan, like combine all of that, because when you think of like cool stories of like women like Pretty Nose, have you read about Pretty Nose? Yeah. So she was like active in battle, and you know, like even like took some guys out. I think she took some guys out. Did she not?
I believe so.
Yeah. So you know what? Like I need to do more reading on that, because my friend suggested this book to me, and it was all about like indigenous warrior women who were actual warriors who fought with men. And those stories, like I need to read it again because it was a while ago when I read it, but like it was so cool to like just skim through that. And oh yeah, like I was just at a bookstore, and like I didn't have the money to buy it. So like I just stood there kind of like, you know, reading.
Absolutely. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
And, you know, I loved it. Like for the short time that I was there, like going through that, and I was like, I'm going to go back for that book, which I am going to go back for that book. But if they're going to do a story, if Disney's going to do a story or a movie on indigenous women, bet your butt it will be supported if it is something like that.
Yeah.
Not the whole fluffy fluff, ooh, princess, damsel, save me, white guy. Like, no, it can't go down like that.
No, it really can't. There needs to be, you know, I know we're heading in this direction, obviously, with the show, Reservation Dogs.
Love it.
Love that show. Absolutely love that show because...
The last episode made me cry, though.
Whoa, no spoilers.
Okay.
Oh man, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm only on episode like 6 right now. Okay.
I'll shush. But bro, catch up.
Okay, I will. Before our next episode of podcast, I'll be caught up.
Okay.
But you know, it's really funny. I watched that show with some family who are a mix of Indigenous and non-Indigenous, and I've seen this show. I've watched it 3 times. Like, the episodes I've seen, I've watched them 3 times.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm still laughing as hard as I was the first time seeing it, and like watching my family look at me laughing and like them missing the humor is so funny to me, because like
they don't get it. It's indigenous humor.
It's indigenous humor, and we have a dark humor.
Yes.
Our humor is dark, and like I love that. And I love that when I was watching that show, and I felt like, even though it was set in different,
it's like dark, dry humor.
Dark, dry humor. Yeah. And even though it's set in, in the States, but that's still that reservation kind of mentality, and the feels, and just kind of like what they're going through, and wanting to get out and wanting to get off the reserve, and the humor around all of that is like, I felt like that was speaking to me, and speaking to us.
Like each character reminds you of somebody you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like what is her name? I can't remember it, but Willie, real sassy one.
Oh.
Willie, what's her name?
I really can't.
So funny. Like I hear her talk and I'm like, I love you. 'Cause I feel like I'm like that person in our friend group. Like in my friend group, I am the one who swears too much. I'm the one who like cracks the inappropriate joke at the wrong time. Like, or like the one who's maybe a little ballsy and I'm ready to fight somebody for my friends.
Yeah.
So, honestly. Willie Jack. There we go. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Willie Jack, my favorite. She's my favorite of everybody.
She's my favorite, and then I think my second favorite is Bear.
Bear's hilarious.
I like him.
Dallas Goldtooth too. He's funny.
Yeah. Is that the
Spirit?
Yes, the Spirit. So you know that he has his own like indigenous like humor YouTube channel. Hey,
I did not know that.
It's called Jay, look that up. Dude, I love this. We're so, that is a thing now.
This is legit, you guys.
Yes.
We're legit.
Seriously, Devin and I talked a lot about having this ability to be like, Jay, can you look that up? It's really important, with the Joe Rogan-esque, the essence of Joe Rogan.
Shout out to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe.
Jamie, having a Jamie.
Yeah, you need a Jamie. Listen, when we're talking here, this is all of our opinions, our thoughts and feelings towards things. We are not fact checkers here. We are not gonna.
We want to ramble with you.
Yeah, that's just it. This isn't about giving the honest facts here. We don't want to mislead anyone at the same time, but
it's nice to have Jay to back us up on some facts that we're like, we definitely need a fact checker for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the small things, like what is the name of that person?
Yeah.
Because
you want to always you want to be able to shout out people properly, or like whatever movie or any topic that you're specifically on, want to be able to shout it out correctly.
Yeah.
But Willie Jack, love you.
Yeah, Willie Jack has that, and she really has. I don't want to use the word. I don't like the word accent because it's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Just her voice, so genuine.
Her res slang.
Yes, yeah. Like holy.
You can tell she really is from the res. There's there's some like Hollywood actors that try to portray somebody from the res, and it just doesn't sound right, and you're just like, that's. Saying stuff like "geesh," it's just all of our slang, and somebody else tries to use it, and they're not like resi, and and I say that it's resi.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to say it.
We're from the res.
We are, 1,000%. We, they're the saying "Skoden." Skoden. That I didn't realize that there is a new saying like studis, and I was like, okay, this is awesome.
But when you think about it, we've said that for so long, but not realizing it was like a slang thing.
Yes, yeah, that's it's been. I love that we have slang.
Yeah.
Our own slang.
Yeah.
Do you got something?
Like
the 1491s. There it is. So that is how, what's his name again? The spirit.
Dallas Goldtooth.
Dallas Goldtooth. That's how he got his start.
That's awesome.
In doing films and stuff. He just did like native comedy, like movie, not movies, but skits.
Skits and stuff.
Yeah.
Skits and reels.
Exactly.
Right
but
on. Thanks, Jay.
I like that. You know, growing up, I'll speak about myself here. Like growing up, you know, there was, I think, a lot of society, and myself included, really was drawn towards like hip hop, and you know, that like the style, the music, the fashion, the slang, you know, all of that was like, it was so cool, right? Yeah. It was really like different from, you know, growing up in Vernon. You know, like there was not a lot of I don't know, diversity here in the early days in like the 80s and 90s.
So you could tell who was from the res and who wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I really like that we, you know, like you said, we have had our own slang and our own terms of things forever. Yeah. But I never noticed it until I was like completely removed from this ecosystem. And when I moved to China, you know, and when I moved to China, that's when I really realized that like I had a lot of res slang. Yeah. Like a lot. Hola. Hey, you know, and you, hey, just kidding, you know, like just a little elbow bump and just jokes, cuz that was something I think Sarah asked me. I was talking to my sister on the phone a while ago. She said, "Do you ever call your sister by her name, or do you just call her sister?" And I'm like, "Just sister." Sister. Like, hey cousin, hey sister, hey bro. That's just our way. That's just what we, you know. Your
older auntie, your older cousins that are female are auntie. Your older cousins that are male are uncle.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I really like seeing the direction that like, as Indigenous people, we are heading into a more positive direction in terms of movies and film and art and creative minds, books, literature. Yeah. My uncle put out a book. He published a book and he had a book release party a couple weeks ago.
I remember him. He was telling us about that and then told us we weren't invited.
Ooh.
Okay. All jokes, Tim.
But yeah, he it's called All the Quiet Places, and you know, it's a fictional book, but you know, you can really tell that there's a lot of his story and his life in that book. And basically what I'm saying is it is a good time to be Indigenous.
It is.
It is a good time to be Indigenous and getting recognition for a lot of different people across the world that are doing really great things and finally getting that recognition and that spotlight and that, you know, that attention that it is so
in a positive way.
Yes.
Not, oh gosh, sorry, my voice. Gonna really sound like an elder here. Sorry. But yeah, like, cause you know, usually when we're at the forefront and have the spotlight on us, it's always so negative. And this is like one of the big things that like drove you and I to do this, because everywhere, all the time, it's always like negativity being spread about us, negative posts, negative this, negative that. And it's like, people fail to get to know the true identity of Indigenous people, because everything that is being portrayed by the media or other outlets, it's all negative. So therefore people have a negative connotation with us. Like is that the right word, connotation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm like, wait. I need you to like check those things for me too.
$10 word.
Right? Oh gosh. But yeah, like it gets exhausting, right? And it was part of that reason. Like as a kid, I grew up even feeling shameful that I was Indigenous. And when people would say like, "Oh, are you Latina?" I would roll with it and be like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah." See, But honestly, it took a lot of seeing other positive things within our communities, and going to powwow and going to ceremony and getting out on the land with my parents and other family members. All of that really brought me back to my roots and stopped making me feel so embarrassed and ashamed of who I was, because, like, it's hard, like when you're a kid and you go to school and you have like bullies, right? And they'll say horrible things about Indigenous kids, and you either go one way or another. You're either that Indigenous kid that shuts up and just puts your head down, or you're that Indigenous kid that acts out in rage. And it was hard to have like a happy medium with that, and the safe thing was always to blend in, like as you and I have talked before. You mentioned camouflage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where there is me myself being more white passing. I've never really had those experiences of like the very in your face, like based on my looks. Mm-hmm. People never came to me and would make remarks or say things derogatory towards me or Indigenous people, but I would still see it and be a part of it in terms of being with my friends, my cousins who are more visibly Indigenous, that would get those really racist comments and rude remarks, and it turned into fights more often than not.
Yeah.
How do you, especially maybe not as much as we're adults now, but especially when you're a teenager, how do you sit there and just let somebody just talk to you that way and not react in a way that like that's not to go too far off the topic, but that is the biggest issue with why Indigenous people, why we get so upset when it comes to like Halloween.
Yeah.
And festivals and dressing up as an Indigenous person or Native American,
or people going blackface, or like any other like culturally disrespectful costume.
Yes, exactly. So, I wrote an essay on this topic because it really struck a nerve with me when I was in my second year of university. And so I wrote an essay on that topic of like Halloween costumes and cultural appropriation. And I was listening to a podcast. It was the Brilliant Idiots podcast, my favorite podcast. Charlemagne the God, Andrew Schultz. Thank you for being my, the people who I've looked up to and really wanted this. They are big reasons why I even wanted a podcast, is watching them and what they do. And that looks like so much fun. And I've always wanted to do that. So anyway, shout out to the Brilliant Idiots podcast. Maybe one day they'll hear about us.
Maybe.
But I think that there's a lady on the podcast, and she said, "You don't get to try on my culture. You can't just try it on and take it off. That's not how this works. If I don't get to do that, you don't get to do that. I don't get to just wake up and be like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm not going to be black today, or I'm not going to be brown, or I'm not going to be Asian. Mm-hmm. No, but when white people do that, they can just take off the paint and they can take off the costumes, and then they go back to just being them again. Mm-hmm. Whereas any minority person does not have that luxury. They don't get to just take off their identity like that. Yeah.
That's one thing that like really upsets me, when people are like, when it's like a non-Indigenous person, like a white person or something, and then they're like, well, my life was hard too. Your life was not hard for you based on your skin tone, though. Nobody has ever judged you for your skin tone. Life wasn't made hard for you because of that, unless you are a white person on the res and people out there got a thick skin and maybe you've felt some kind of way. That I understand, and I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with anybody being discriminatory with anyone, but I do get annoyed when I do see white people pulling the, well, I grew up in poverty and la 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 too. It's like, that's horrible. Like, your government should support you more. Like, and that's the best way that I can ever turn it around. It's just like, hey, your problems, there are problems too. Your problems, though, weren't made because of your skin color. Our problems were. But if we all stand on a united front and say no more, and this is not supposed to this should not happen anymore, we would all be doing pretty darn good right now. Like, I mean, I want to rage against the machine a little bit here.
Absolutely.
And say, fuck the system. Because you know what? There are many different cultures, many different backgrounds, many different people standing up for what is right now. And it's a dangerous game to play.
Yep.
But honestly, I just like looking into the future. I see it's so worth it. I want a safe place for my kids to go walk around. I want all the bad people to just disappear or learn.
See, doesn't it frustrate you that we actually have to explain and defend why it's wrong to dress up as Pocahontas for Halloween?
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. And I don't, to me, it's just, at this point, it should be common sense.
Even for a photo shoot, like when girls like do stuff for photo shoots too, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I have certain roots. Like, I am a multicultural, very diverse woman raised in my indigenous roots, but you don't see me running around dressed as a druid because of my Irish roots. Like, I'm sorry, like, I embrace it, like, in my spiritual practice and whatnot. I embrace each and every one of my cultural backgrounds, but I don't go around saying, you know, this is who I am because of blah, 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 blah. I just like, I don't know, like, you and I have gotten into that conversation before too. But I don't know, it is, there's like so many fine lines to walk, but like, as far as cultural appropriation, like via costume, it's tired, you guys. Move along. Stop. Just understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I was an example of having to shut something down, really racist. Me and so I was a peer mentor for Aboriginal programs and services. So what that means is you are a mentor to first year Indigenous students.
Okay.
Right. So therefore you get assigned, anywhere from 10 to, 25 first year students. And the idea is that you're there for them as a guide, as a mentor, to help them to, be there as a resource or someone they could lean on or ask questions, and you take them out for coffee, and, you do activities, and you just help make their leap from high school to university just that much better. Right. Yeah. Because when I was mentoring, a lot of my mentees were like from really remote communities. Yeah. Like there was, you had to like fly in on a little Cessna and fly out, there was a lot of, worry and stress and a lot of homesickness, like being away from, the first time ever leaving their community, and it was, 1,000 miles away from home. And so, being a mentor was really, I already did it naturally because I was already older than most people that were at school, but I really enjoyed it because I really wanted to ensure that I could be a part of helping keep our, Indigenous students going through post-secondary. Yeah. And because if you're going to drop out of university, it's in the first year. Yeah. It's almost always the first year that if you're going to drop out, it's in that year. If you can make it past your first year, the chances of you graduating are exponentially higher. Yeah. So I really wanted to make sure that I could be someone, a leader, a mentor for the first year students. And so anyway, we arranged to go to the Rockets game. So we, Rockets, it's good hockey, and, we got a good relationship with the team, the Aboriginal Program Services. Right on. So, we got the mentors and the mentees, and we all went to the hockey game, and it was a good game. I think, I can't remember who they were playing, but anyway, Kelowna Rockets, they scored a couple goals really quickly, and there's this dude and a couple of his friends, and they literally stood up and they started doing the that, like cheering, but doing that. And I just looked at this guy, and I just kind of looked at, like, we made eye contact, and I kind of just looked at like the 30 Indigenous students that were all just like sitting right there, and I just looked back at him, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Know your audience.
Yeah.
Know where you are before you, like, I'm sorry, but in what context is that appropriate?
No, never.
Never. We don't do that. That's that's like, I don't even know. I was so embarrassed, and I was really happy that the students didn't even notice.
Yeah.
But I noticed.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a problem.
Yeah.
Because that experience could have changed for the worst for those students.
It could have made somebody really shrink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're out, you're in public, you're enjoying a hockey game, just being like everybody else.
And then all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm getting mocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was really glad that no one noticed it. And like, I was like pretty flustered after. I was like visually, like, I wear my emotions on my face. I don't hide how I feel. I can't. It's impossible.
Biting your lip and sitting on your hands, just like,
yeah, exactly. And what's wrong? Like, no, nothing. It's okay. Like,
buddy, you're lucky my students are here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things that it's really uncomfortable to have those. Like, I do not like confrontation. Yeah. If anything, I try to diffuse a situation. Mm-hmm. I've been in one fight in my life. That's a great story for another time.
We have to talk about our fight stories.
We do. But I'd rather talk the situation down. Yeah. But there are moments where you just need to go straight.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And it's usually, and that can even go one of two ways. You never know how someone's going to react. Yeah. For every action, there's a reaction. Mm-hmm. But, thankfully that guy understood and just chilled out for the rest of the game. So
his buzz probably wore off real fast.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you shot a look to him too, because you know what? It's even if he didn't intend on it being something harmful, which a lot of people, when they do stuff like that, they don't intend on being harmful, but they don't realize that in somebody else's eyes or triggering certain traumas, it can be hurtful. Yeah. So a lot of people just like need to bring their awareness in a little bit more and like realize like, oh my God, like, is this helping or hindering?
Yeah.
So. No,
that's so true. So I actually wanted to ask you about, you've been pretty busy with your own stuff. Just to shift the conversation a little bit. So what have you been up to these days? What can you share with our listeners right now?
Oh my goodness. Up to
can you talk about it?
Laundry. Just kidding. Not kidding, but honestly, working with my horses. When we were evacuated, I had to take some time off, and then I was doing really good. I was up visiting our horses quite often, and life takes over. And so I've been working with my horses back on the farm. We're getting ready for winter right now, so we're winterizing everything. My husband just shot a moose as well. Hey. So thankfully he'll be home to help me complete all those big man projects that I can't quite finish on my own. I will admit, as much as I'd like to be able to muscle everything and do it on my own, that's how I dented my truck. So I'm just, that's again, another story for another time. Gotcha. But we've been busy on the farm. I've been doing a little bit of singing.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That's actually why I almost lost my voice there a few minutes ago. I've been singing again, and it feels really good to be able to be creative like that again. I've had other artists that I've worked with actually reach out to me, asking to collaborate again, which is really amazing. But ultimately my eyes, the prize for me would be to get back into a rock band. because that's where I just come alive. And I really, really really want to do that again.
Whoa.
So singing, working with the horses. Of course, I've got the kiddos. So I have 2 kids that come over after school until like 5:30ish, and their mom picks them up after, 'cause she's a teacher and needed somebody for after school care. So I've got a household of 4 kids for a few hours every day during the week. It's been so busy, but so awesome. I'm trying to think of what else too. Just like, one of my friends moved in with us too. That's been interesting. It's been good being able to help her though. Really so much love, and honestly, like very, I feel like I've been getting more in touch with my spiritual self as well, because like, even though things were feeling like a roller coaster, out of control in like a bad kind of way, it's actually led to something really amazing.
Yeah. I think I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to make sense of a lot of things right now. Mm-hmm. And there are times where when you're going through things, you're questioning it. You're like, what is going on? Like,
having a hard time processing.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this. Like, what is, and there's something that one of our elders, Richard Armstrong, mm-hmm. That he told me. He shared this with me because I was struggling with something. This was a couple of years ago when I was in his Instruction course, language class. Yeah. And, he told me that he said, the way that we learn is through reflecting. So what he meant by that is, when you're going through it, you just need to get through that. Mm-hmm. You can't be concerned with the whys and why me or what is going on. Mm-hmm. You just kind of have to like
go with it. Yeah.
And then once you come out on the other end, you should be able to reflect back on it and make some sense of it.
Process it and put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing he told me too is that for whatever reason, we as humans have this burning desire to have a why for everything. Why this? Why that? Why? Well, there isn't always a why. And that is what really bothers us as humans, is when we can't have that answer of why. And going through life, I think I've finally come to terms with that, and I understand it now, that sometimes there is no why.
Yeah. No way to understand. There's honestly the world and the universe full of mystery.
It is.
Full of mystery.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because, okay, so sorry, off topic, but when I was living in China, when you would ask a question in English, more often than not, when you're speaking with anyone, you would say, why?
Yeah.
And instead of saying no reason, the reply would be no why. Like, I was like, well, why is this, why did you do that? And they're like, oh, no why.
There is no why.
There's no why.
That's so funny.
So when I just said that, there is no why. I'm like,
flashback.
Oh yeah, flashbacks. No why.
No why.
But yeah, it's, I think, I wanted to just address some things that you are doing and that are, I think that something that I'm seeing more and more of right now, and I hope that it continues, is I'm seeing a very strong presence and kind of this uplifting momentum of art, of like Indigenous women, and really, really just setting this tone of like, we are badass, we are awesome, and we are here, and we are gonna make ourselves known.
We are rooted and uplifted at the same time.
Yeah. I love what I'm seeing, and I love the fact that you are setting such a great example for our young women out there you know, they need people to look up to inspire them to be like, hey, I want to do that. I want to get into photography and singing and but also be connected to my culture and my roots. And you do a really good job of balancing all of these aspects of your life, and not just, you take something and you turn it into your own.
Thank you.
And I think that's important to recognize that. And I really hope that it really inspires the next generation, you know, when there's women like yourself, and I have a lot of other friends who are like really, really just trailblazing for like Indigenous women. You know, they're one of my really near and dear friends, Santana.
Yeah.
I love you, Santana. She'll definitely listen to this podcast.
Right on.
She is on her way to becoming a doctor.
Wow.
And her journey has been, you know, it's been a very bumpy road in terms of racism and, you know, just being Indigenous and
life on top of all that extra.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but she, you know, she doesn't quit.
Yeah.
She has that drive, and she's not going to let anyone or anything or the system stop her. So I would love to see more of our men shouting out the women who are doing such great things.
I appreciate that, and I agree.
It's important. It is so important. And I hope that we start to see men doing similar things.
Yeah.
I really want to start seeing, you know, when I see our cousins or people from our community get the bull mooses or go get a deer or whatever it is they're doing, and they're sharing that. I love it. I love seeing.
Like, right on, let's go.
Yeah. Who you know, I think there was a couple of our younger cousins who got their first deer this year already. You know, and I'm like, yes.
Upholding so many traditional values as well. Like, honestly, I first like started partaking in youth projects when I was still in high school, and I would join my auntie who was running Souk and Shoot. Yeah. And she would call me in and be like, hey, can you come here after school and help me with these students? And we would do like acting workshops and other like cool things. And it was always so amazing to have like people like her and like my mom to look up to. And because, you know, not everybody in our community has family like that to look up to, but they have other sources within community to take them under their wing like that, right?
Yeah.
So really seeing the community come together in that way has been so amazing. Like, just honestly, showing support too, because, you know, I feel like there's so many communities that go through like the nepotism and all that kind of stuff. So it does make people afraid to ask for help or seek advice from somebody who maybe they admire, but maybe they're afraid of. Right. So like for my goal for myself, I have always tried to make myself approachable and open to other people. And, you know, I've had that comment a few times where people were like, you're very intimidating. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is opposite of what I want. What did I do? I'm so sorry. And then they realize, oh, you're not at all what I thought you were like. And it's like, oh, good. Because I think I'm a nice person. I think I'm approachable. But
I would agree.
I can understand people not thinking that as well, right? But I feel like as far as like leading by example, if you look at my younger years, I struggled a lot. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I went through drug addiction, alcoholism. Like those are battles that even now, as somebody who has been clean for many years now.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
And yeah, I was into hard drugs and pulled myself out of that rabbit hole, and it was bad. It was bad. And to be able to pull myself out of that, I have to have that pep talk with myself every day when I'm getting ready and looking in the mirror. Like, your past does not define you.
No.
And you know what? The obstacles that I've had to hurdle over, those are other people's obstacles as well. And if I can use my life story to help other people and just be like, look, I don't think you're a piece of shit. I was just like you. I don't feel like a piece of shit anymore. I feel great. I want you to feel like that. Just know that there is hope. And those times where you feel like there is no hope, find somebody who can give you that hope. Because a lot of times we do rely on our friends, our support systems, people who we admire and think are wise. Like, we need to go to them in those moments where we're feeling weak, right? And trust me, I've had many mentors help coach me through the years of overcoming those very obstacles. And honestly, I can say now if you've known me in my past, you would say I'm a certain type of person. But if you were to know me now, you wouldn't think that person existed.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I think I think when it comes to my approach to meeting anybody in life is I learned this teaching actually as a 21-year-old. I taught for a year and then I moved on to another school, and the teachers who took over for me were, this older couple, really sweet, really nice. And, they told me, I was really sad about leaving. I was really sad about leaving these students, and I felt bad. And they're like, it's okay. You've planted the seeds in this garden, and we're just going to be there to take care of it. Yeah. We're just the next caretakers of the garden, so to speak. And getting to know them, they told me something that I thought was really interesting. And they said, when it comes to meeting someone, clean slate. Mm-hmm. Clean slate. Even if you know all the bad stuff that they did in their past, yeah, you should always give someone a clean slate when you meet them, and let them write their own story of their relationship with you. Yeah. Don't judge them on their past transgressions. Mm-hmm. And, I think about those people who I've met and who people are like, oh my God, why would you be friends with that person? Or why would you talk to them? Or why would you hang? Oh, you're dating so-and-so. Do you know what she did? Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. I how long ago was that? 10 years ago?
She's a different person now.
I hope so. But that's the point. People grow, people change. And, you have to, if you're going to sit there and kick someone when they're down and shit talk them and say they're bad and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? You better fucking be there too when they are on their up and up. And you better be there to lend a hand, and you better be there to help them on their way of their healing journey or whatever it is, their road on a better path. Yeah. Because that's really, really terrible in my mind, that if you can just bad talk someone while they're down, yeah, and not recognize them when they're on the up and up.
Yeah. No, and that's the other thing too, is like, that's where pride comes in. Right? Like, people understand, like, if they've been talking smack about somebody, and then all of a sudden that somebody changes, and then you do, like, I feel like anytime, and hey, I'm not a perfect person. I've admitted this 1,000 times. Like, I've definitely done my share of shit talking.
Same here.
But it's all about accountability and, like, recognizing, like, wow, like, you know what? Seeing that person that you were talking shit about, like, wow, you've done amazing and congratulations. Like, almost every single person that I've ever had a problem with, I actually ended up being friends with later, because of being able to just let go of the differences, or let go of the past, let go of those things, move on, progress. Maybe it's a Sagittarius thing. Maybe. I don't know. But honestly, there have been so many times in life where I have had major fallouts with people, and then later, just because I hate that negative energy, bumping into them and being like, hey, like, got a second to talk? And then talk about it, hash it out. Like, it really hurt my feelings when you did this to me. And then therefore I went and talked shit about you to this person, and I'm really sorry. And it did not make me feel good to do that, but I needed to vent about you. And like, and then, most oftentimes it becomes a laughing matter and just like, yeah, we were really dumb back then, weren't we? Yeah, we were. We said some stupid shit. Can we get over it? Are we grown-ups now? Yes, we are. All right, cool.
I think there's a difference between shit talking and venting.
Yes, that's true.
And rumor spreading.
True.
Those are all different things.
Yes.
Sarah, don't listen to this part, but but no, like what I'm saying is, when the guys get together, and those of us who are in long-term relationships or married,
vent about our spouse.
We vent about our spouse. This is what we do, man. Dude, I got to tell you about Sarah. And Jay,
sure
Jay be like, man, Aaliyah,
Ryan does it with his buddies, and I do it with my girl. We all do it. It's not human if you don't. And
exactly.
If you don't, something wrong with you. Nobody is rainbow sunshines and cupcakes out of their ass all the time, y'all. Yeah, right, Jay. Yeah, right. He's hands up and he's like, yeah, I am. I don't know. I don't know, man.
But then when you are actively going out of your way to tell people of something you heard.
Yeah.
Hearsay.
Yes. Hearsay drives me nuts. Yes.
As soon as someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I heard," stop. Just don't continue. Whatever it is you're about to say to me, don't say it.
I always go directly to the source if I hear some stuff like that. Like, actually, I had an incident like that today, actually, and that was part of my whole, like, huffy walking in here, like, oh my God, the day I had.
Latte in hand, oh my God.
Legit, yeah, I was that basic bitch who walked into the Starbucks chai tea latte. A few minutes late, diva-like, yes. But yeah, like legit had something similar like that happen today where it was completely none of my drama, nothing. Somebody came and talked a bunch of shit to me about somebody that I care about and immediately like called my friend, gave them the heads up and was just like, so this just happened. And before I send this all to you, because they asked me to send it to you and I told them I would, I just want to give you the lowdown on how this made me feel and that I love you. And do you want to see this or not? Kind of thing, right? Yeah. So like, I do believe in like, as I said before, is this helping or hindering? If I feel like somebody is like talking a bunch of smack about my friend and maybe they're at a really high point of their life and I don't want to put that negative energy on them, but I want them to know like the truth about what somebody is saying, right? Do you do the friend thing and you have their back like to that person and stand up for them, but then tell them about it later? Are you spreading gossip or are you shit talking? Or are you just informing your friend, hey, so-and-so is saying this about you. It's making me uncomfortable. They came to me with this, so they're obviously saying it to other people. I want you to know this so that you can either deal with it the way you want to, or you can just know about it and say whatever.
That is a good question, and I don't think there is any one answer for those situations. I think each situation is unique within itself. Yeah. I think if you have the ability to tell that person to just shut the fuck up, then that's probably like, that would be my first option. Like, hey, whatever it is, you need to stop right now. Yeah. Because how do you know this? What are your facts? How do you know? Yeah. Tell me, please prove it.
Totally.
Or
that's kind of what I did today where because it was online, it was through Messenger and I was like, oh God, I have text proof. It wasn't just word of mouth. Right. And it was basically exactly that, where it was just like, okay, well, in my opinion and in my own, that was not said to me, so I can't verify that and I can't follow that up. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Like wiping my hands of this and blah, blah, blah. Right. So
I've, my whole philosophy when I was in China, here's a story. Okay. Here's how I learned about friendship the hard way, or trust, both actually. Yeah. All right. So I'm 3 years into China. And I moved to a new city. I moved to Fuyang. It was the name of the city, Fuyang. And so I'm there and there's a bunch of, I'm the new guy in town. So, in China, you tend to befriend most of the foreigners
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of who you gravitate towards, right? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, we're all kind of in this together. We're all teachers.
Do you need a hand? Can I show you around?
Yeah, exactly. And then, and then you'll start becoming friends with the locals as you kind of get a little bit more situated and comfortable in your new surroundings. But so I remember we had a guys group, and we get together and play poker every week. Nice. It was awesome. It was good, and we had fun. And I got to know this one guy. His name was Rob, and so he was an older guy. So I've always had older friends. Other than Jay, I'm older than him, but most of my friends, I've always gravitated towards older people and befriending them, because as immature as I came across in my younger days, I always felt more comfortable around older people. I felt like I could learn a lot. That they talk.
You're an old soul.
I am an old soul with a young heart, and I just enjoyed listening to them talk more. I felt they had more interesting things that they would discuss. So I always wanted to be around the adults, I guess. Yeah. And anyway, so Rob seemed like a person who I could confide in. So. Oh man. All right. So.
Oh, it came back to bite you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
So I had, I noticed like a couple of bumps, down in my, genital area.
Oh no.
And I was a little concerned, I was in China and like, I've never seen this before, and I was freaking out, and I was like so worried about this. So I'm like, okay, I got to talk to someone. I need to like
get this out.
Get this out.
Drive myself insane and become a Google doctor.
Right? Because like in all honesty, being a foreigner in a small town, if you go to the doctor, everyone knows that you went to the doctor.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I'd go grocery shopping, and people would be like, "Hey, I saw you grocery shopping yesterday," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Cool, and like, oh, like people would talk about you because there weren't many foreigners.
It became like Eagle Eye, where it's like everyone has cameras everywhere.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I confided in Rob. I said, "Hey, Rob, I need to talk to you, man." And he's like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And so I told him, I said, "Man, I got these bumps down there," and he's like, "Are they big, small?" Like asking me some questions. I said, "No, they're just small." And he's like, "Did you shave recently?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, like not that recently, but like, yeah." And he's like, "That's probably just an ingrown hair. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. You're fine. Like, just keep an eye on it. And if it gets worse or if it gets bigger or whatever, then go to the doctor. Yeah. But for right now, I think you're fine."
Yeah.
"Thanks, man. Oh, I really needed to hear that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Poker night rolls around.
Oh no.
And he's the only person I've talked. He was the only person I told. Yeah. And at poker night, all of a sudden, this other guy, Gene, very outspoken, very loud, boisterous human being. He's like, "Hey, Cody, so what's going on with those bumps down there, man?" And I'm like, I was like, "Oh man." And like, I just looked at him and I was like, "Wow, man, like, wow, you really just went and told everybody about that." And, I was like, okay, I think I'm getting this now, that you really have to learn how to, like, you have to give it some time before you can trust somebody with something.
100%.
And so I quickly realized that, like, he was someone I couldn't trust.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a friend.
Yeah.
And even though it didn't hurt me, I wasn't like, I didn't leave the poker crying or I didn't throw a fit at the table. I was just like, damn, I'm like, okay.
I would have thrown a fit. I would have been like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. Give me your money." Also, that wasn't me. That was him. Turned it around. You're like, "What? No, that wasn't me. That was him. That's him."
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So it was just really eye-opening. As a young 23-year-old, 24-year-old guy, I was like, okay, wow, I can't just like trust anybody.
No new friends.
No new friends. Yeah. And so from that point is when I really realized, like, I was like, why am I like and he is my friend, his name's Sean. I talked to him, we were talking about friendship, and he said, he's like, "Cody, when you hang out with these people, you got to ask yourself a question. Would you hang out with these people if you were back home?" would you be hanging out with this group of people if you were back home? Or are you just hanging out with them because you're all kind of just foreign English teachers in China?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's a good ass point. I'm like, hell no, I wouldn't be hanging out with any of these people. No. He's like, there you go. So don't. Yeah. You don't have to be friends with them because you're a foreigner and in China and work together.
And you're a social person.
Yeah. So, that's when I really learned about trust and friendship and the value of it. And
not calling everybody your friend.
Ooh.
Or I love you. We were getting into that one night when we were talking about that. And you know what's funny? At first, I disagreed with you, where I was like, but I say I love you to everybody, because genuinely in that moment, I'm like, oh, like I'm feeling love. I love you. But I totally backed up on that a couple weeks after we had that first initial conversation of saying somebody's like, oh, you're my friend. You're my friend. Because I talk about that all the time. Like people that, like a new friend I make on Instagram, like, oh, hey, I'm my friend or whatever. You're not really my friend. You're somebody I have on Instagram that I have good conversations with. Mm-hmm. And there's stuff like that now too, where I'm trying to be extra mindful of. Because same thing, and y'all who know me know I'm into tarot and oracle, and I've been having some readings telling me I got some fake friends. So I've been keeping everyone in check and really analyzing my relationships, which actually has been really wonderful, because the way I'm able to respect my boundaries and my space now is so different. Yeah. Whereas I had a lot of people who weren't my genuine friends asking extreme favors of me, but then would just disappear after. And then I'd be like, oh, well, dang, I didn't need to do that for them. So it is protecting your energy and really getting to know people. And if you already have a small circle of friends, honestly, sanity and small circle go so well together.
You took the thought right out of my mind. Keep your circles small. I want to emphasize this. I really want to drive this point home, especially to the younger generation.
Oh, God, yes.
Listen.
Gosh.
I know it can feel like you have hundreds of friends, but I am sincerely telling all of you that you're going to have to learn the hard way. I know it. We all do. Most of us do. But you're going to realize as you get older that you don't actually have that many friends.
And you are who you hang out with.
Yeah, exactly.
The 5 people you are around most are the 5 aspects of yourself.
Bingo. And that's to bring it back to what you were talking about earlier about the shit talk and drama. My life has been drama free for so long. I love it. I love it. My circle of friends, there's no drama. It's amazing. And I love that. And I realized that as my friend circle got smaller, you had more genuine connections with people. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be social. Yeah. You and I are both very social people. I love talking to people about anything. I genuinely enjoy that.
And we very rarely meet people that we don't immediately have a connection with or right away.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But understanding that just because listen, anyone can put on a front or put on their best act when you first meet them. Yeah. Anyone can do that. Yeah. But you have to see that it's okay to have acquaintances. Yeah. Not everyone has to be your friend. And the thing that I learned from my dad, and I something that I've always carried with me, is just if you meet someone, for example, if you and I just met, and we had a great conversation, and it was hey, you know what? It was really nice chatting with you. I'll see you around. Have a great day. You know what? We left on a positive note. Yeah. So therefore, down the road, if I was hey, you know what? I want to who do I know who does medium work, or who do I know that does healing work? I'm hey, you know what? Devin, I remember her. Yeah, she was pretty cool. You know what? Maybe I seen her on Instagram. I'll see if she's, if she would help me with something. Yeah. And I truly believe that if you just, whatever relationship you create with somebody, whether it's a conversation or whatever that looks like, if you leave every interaction on a positive note, you don't have to talk to that person all the time. You don't have to check in. You don't have to, hey, how's your family? How are you? No. Literally, you could not talk for 3 years and just shoot them a message and be like, yo, hey, how's it going? Are you still doing this type of stuff? And they'd be like, hey, yeah, I'm still doing that. I
heard the best piece of advice today.
Okay.
It was, if you cannot talk stuff like from your soul with the person that you are talking with, they are not your true friend. Damn. So if you cannot literally spill the beans and not like feel comfortable with that, then they are not your true friend. Or maybe you just haven't gotten to know them really well, right? But like it's all about that too. And the way you say, like, leaving things on a positive note, they are somebody you get along with, that is genuine, that's a good person, or you would call like a buddy. Right? Because like a lot of people say like, oh, my best friend, as we were saying too. And honestly, like I think about it, I do have a lot of best friends, but they're people that I've like either grown up with. I have very few friends that I've grown up with that I still consider my best friends. Yep. And then I have my new friends that are like my key people. Yeah. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider one of my best friends because you and I talk about everything.
Mutual.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I never thought of it the way you said it. That's so true. Like if you can talk from your soul to somebody, like
you don't have to worry about offending them. They would just understand what you're saying.
That's the ultimate vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right there. That is like, I am like literally giving you like everything. Yeah. And I like that. I really think that's a good way to look at it. I look at my friends. I thought at one point in time I was going to make like my friend hockey lineup. Okay.
I like that. That's something I would totally do.
Right.
Oh God, I already know who's on it.
I was like, okay, here's line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. And like line 1, it's like, you know, these are the people who do XYZ, and then here's my fourth line. This is my checking line.
Here's the person in the sin bin. They're the most fun.
Right. Here's the person who like it's you know, no question. Like they'll help now and ask questions later. Yeah. You know, and
center.
Yeah.
Centerman. Get in there.
I never did it. I never did it. I'm not going to, but I think of, I've understood that, like, and this is something that my friend Kyla taught me. Yeah. So her and I
love her.
Right?
She's amazing.
She is an incredible human being.
I just did this again. I love her. I can't help it. I'm a lovey person.
Yeah, but that's a different kind of love.
I love her energy.
There it is.
There we go.
You know, like there's nothing wrong with saying you love somebody, but like there's levels to it, I think.
Saying something like, I love their energy. I love their style. I love the way they speak. I love their voice. Yes. Aspects of them, because you don't truly know them. Right. Yeah.
So she taught me that, you know, her and I, like, we kind of grew up together. We were friends in elementary school, and then, you know, high school, and after high school. And then her, you know, she's always been a part of my family's life. Yeah. As her sister was with my brother for many years, and you know, she was always a part of our family. And so anyway, like living abroad for several years and even moving home, you know, she taught me something. She said, you know what, Cody? I went to visit her one day and I said, hey, Kyle, I'm really sorry that I haven't come to visit you more. I'm sorry that we don't talk as much. I'm sorry. And she's like, stop, just stop. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like, genuinely, like, I'm not just saying this. Like, I really feel bad. She's like, Cody, you don't have to. You and I have a relationship that it doesn't require us to constantly check in on each other, to talk every week or every day. You know, she's like, we are always going to be friends. Yes. And when we see each other, it's amazing. We catch up. We,
pick up right where you left off.
Pick up right where you left off.
Yeah.
So don't apologize for not being an active person in my life. You don't have to be. And I realized after that, I was like, wow, it is cool to just have friends who sit on the bench.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh. I love that you said that, because as we were talking about the hockey lineup thing, I was literally thinking of like, who would be benched? I do. I have my friends that sit on the sidelines that I have such a genuine, good, strong connection and friendship with, that same thing. We don't have to talk all the time. Like, we see each other's Facebook posts. We like them. We heart them, leave an inspirational comment now and then. But to see each other, it's like I go years without seeing some of my best friends. And then all of a sudden I see them, and it's exactly like time had just stood still. And it's like we've never separated at all, right? And I'm excited because we have that opportunity coming up this weekend.
Heck yeah.
Where we get to go visit two of our best friends. That same thing, we see them once or twice a year. And each time it's like they come and stay with us. This time we get to go stay where they are. And, I'm so excited for that emotion to come through, because I'm probably going to cry a little bit. I'm not really a crier, but I just have this sense where I'm like, I love them so much, I'm probably going to cry.
Yeah.
And like, it's so important to have those people in your life.
Friendship, the difference I've learned between friendship and like a loving relationship, like a couple, is that friendships should not require much work.
No.
Friendships should be very easy in terms of like there shouldn't be any drama. There shouldn't be any real big glaring issues. Like friendship, if you're a good friend, if you're a good friend, there really shouldn't be. It's you talk to each other, you help each other out when you need one another. Yeah. You support one another with whatever you're going through. Yeah. But really, it should be very straightforward. To me, I shouldn't have to worry about my friendship with somebody. Or
worry if somebody got offended by what you said, because if they really truly do you, they would know that you never meant to say anything or do anything to hurt them. Yeah. And that everything was always in the best interest, or I'm looking out for you, or I genuinely have to ask you this. Like it's all about like really knowing somebody, like soul work. It's like soul. Yeah. It's all about the soul, right? Just like, I know you're a genuine soul. So if you come to me, maybe even questioning something that I have done, it would be because maybe like that's not what you usually do. Like, what made you change and do that? Like being able to ask those genuine questions is like a huge thing too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, do you think we should wrap this up? We've been going for how long now? Almost 2 hours. Ooh, hey, that's a good first episode.
Yes, guys. How are we digging Intertribal talk? How are we digging the podcast, guys? We want to know.
Yes, please. We really want this podcast to be interactive with our listeners. If you have suggestions, topics, something you'd like us to discuss, we're open to that.
Sorry, I just thought about the 21 questions I wanted to do where we grill each other, but for another time.
Let's save the grilling for next time or the time after.
No grilling yet.
No grilling yet. But genuinely, sincerely, thank you to anyone who's been with us on this journey. We're just getting started, and we are excited about this, and we hope all of you are excited too. Please stick with us. You're in for a lot of fun, I promise.
We are up and down, side to side, all over the place, and that's how we like it.
Yeah. It's anyone who knows me or who knows Devin as Sagittariuses, our stories are never A to B. There's always A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, and then we eventually get to Z. So yeah. You gotta be able to navigate our stories with us, but they're always entertaining. That much can be said.
We promise you laughs and love.
Yeah, absolutely. So, awesome. Everyone, Have a good day, night, whenever you tune in. Listen to this at work, in your car.
Share it with your friends.
Yes, please share it. Please share with people.
Find us on Instagram as well at Intertribal Talk.
Oh, yes, that is right.
We are on Instagram. I believe we'll be doing like a Spotify and YouTube as well. Yes. And then I do believe Facebook as well. So keep your eyes peeled for where we are at. We promise we will be tagging. We will be doing all that stuff. Also, like showing their video aspect of this as well. We will always shout out anybody that we're wearing, like shout out to North Okanagan Apparel, shout out to Copper Canoe Woman with my beautiful lightning bolt earrings that I'm so in love with.
Yeah.
Yes, and shout out to Falcus Media.
Yeah, thank you, Falcus Media. Without Jay, this would not be a thing. So thanks to my bestie.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for having us here. Thanks for being with us, and we will catch you next time.
Peace.